I know we're coming off those fresh Christmas bonuses, that good time off, seeing family, all the new cars roll up in the driveway, and you're looking to buy a new car. But these are the 10 cars you're going to want to avoid in 2025.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.
So welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm your bro Taylor.
And I'm your bro Ryan.
And like Ryan just said, we're going to be talking about some cars to avoid, whether that being based on maintenance costs, kind of performance reviews. So whatever the reason may be, let's dive right into it.
And jumping into the first one is probably one you already know, and it's the Land Rover Range Rover. So Range Rovers have a reputation of having really high maintenance costs. On average, Range Rovers have a maintenance cost of around $1,600 a year. Just for reference, the average car cost in general for all cars is around $900 a year. So going right along with the high maintenance cost, which makes a lot of sense, it has a very low reliability. You're going to have some problem, some issue that's going to constantly take you back to the dealership or to a mechanic. And not only you're going to constantly go back, but you're also going to spend a lot of money each time. So it makes sense.
Yeah, these Rovers kind of have a reputation. People know oftentimes what they're getting into. So if you still like it, because a lot of people love the look.
Right.
Now, while we may say that you should avoid these cars, obviously, ultimately, it's up to you. If you really like the look of this car and you're only going to use it for this certain special occasions, then by all means, we're just kind of forewarning you that based on our research and what people are saying out there is you're probably going to run into some issues and maybe you should reconsider and look at an alternative. Moving right along is the Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport. This just straight up has a low satisfaction rating. Only about 38% of owners would buy it again. People just don't really like the driving experience with this car. The consumer reports are not very favorable.
Before we go any further in this video, please go to the comments and let us know some of your guesses and some of the cars on this list, as well as your experience. If you had a terrible experience with one of these cars or a different car in general not on the list, please let us know. All our subscribers would like to know. We would definitely like to know so we can avoid buying them in the future. It's just good information. But continuing right along with what I think you've probably already guessed is the Nissan Sentra. So Nissan as a whole, but especially the Nissan Sentra, are known to have electrical issues, common problems with the electrical system, engines, and transmissions, just in general. They're known to be noisy and have lackluster performance. Just Nissan to me as a general, I've test driven a couple of these cars. My wife had one, a Nissan Rogue. I don't like them. They feel kind of cheap to me. They look kind of cheap to me. I hope I'm not bashing a lot of people. And I just don't love the look, the feel, the drive, anything of them. So my personal preference is exactly what we researched. I just don't enjoy Nissans, and I do put them low on the list. To be honest, when I shop for cars, I don't even look at Nissan, period. I just don't prefer the cars.
It's funny. My grandma loves Nissans. Next on the list is one that might actually surprise some people because I've heard a little bit about this car, and that's the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Really, a big drawback for it is simply the high ticket price. The trends are kind of saying that there are just better alternatives out there, like the Tesla Model Y, just offering better value and features for that price tag. So obviously, if you love the car, you love Ford, you love the Mustang, and you want to try kind of this E version, by all means. It's not necessarily that it's a super unreliable car, just bang for buck, it's not really there.
And Ford is getting into the electric vehicle market, and they have a very low share in the market, but they're kind of growing it. So they got a lot of growing pains, and I've heard a lot of kind of horror stories with the Ford Lightning, with the Ford Hybrid, with the Mach-E, just basically where there's a problem, they give it to the shop, it takes a really long time, the problem's not even fixed.
Yeah.
So that's just one thing to look out for. While Tesla, that's all they do. So they got the electric charging network, they're just a little bit more established. And that's their only thing. They don't have to focus on gas power, so they have it more well established and well done. So that's again where we like the Tesla or a couple others more. So moving on to our next one is the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. So these are just quite expensive cars to start out. On top of that, they're known to have heavy maintenance expenses. I personally don't have any experience with these, but from what we saw, there's a lot of people complaining that there's limited headroom. It's kind of, I know almost all third rows are limited, but they're, especially in here, they complain that third row is very limited, very claustrophobic, you feel. So that one we wanted to add in there as well. And Jeeps as a whole are kind of like Nissan. They're known to have problems. you'll see on the reliability list, there's a lot of them at the bottom. So
Yeah.
just something to be worried about.
Next is a car that may not even be on your radar, but we kind of just wanted to include in this list. It's actually a Rivian.
No, I like Rivian.
Yeah, I know. They look pretty cool, but the Rivian R1T, it just has a very high price tag, kind of with all Rivians. And right now, it just has some expensive maintenance. They're not quite at the established point that Tesla is, for example. The Consumer Reports give this car a 22 out of 100 on the reliability score. They just have a lot of frequent drive system issues, climate system issues, and even just a lot of noises and leaks that people have been complaining about. Obviously, not something you want to really deal with, especially with a company that isn't quite as established as some of the other alternatives that you could have.
So next on our list is the Chevy Malibu. The Chevy Malibu is known to have very poor reliability. They have frequent issues with engines and transmissions, and they also have an extremely low resale value. And my one story with Chevy Malibu is we had an Uber driver pick us up, and we were kind of in the market, loosely shopping for cars. And I asked, I'm like, oh, this is a pretty nice car. We're kind of shopping around. What do you think? He turned his head around so quickly, and he was like, do not ever buy this car. I was like, really? He's like, I've had so many problems. I had the car it's more longer in the shop than I ever have it. I was like, okay, that's good to know from personal experience that it's not the car to buy. And that's just a quick story. So many people might love it. I don't know. But from that one person and from what I've seen reviews, it's out for me.
Moving right along is the Ford F-150 Hybrid. Of course, F-150 is an extremely popular car, but the Hybrid has just come back with a lot of issues. More specifically, it just has very high repair costs and also known for poor reliability. The Consumer Reports actually give it a 19 out of 100 for reliability.
Now just imagine you brought your report card or your test home to your mom and you showed her you got a 19 out of 100. Your parents would be pretty darn upset.
Yeah.
Same situation. If you walked home and gave your wife keys, this car has a reliability of 19 out of 100. Pretty upset. So maybe this isn't the car to buy. Now moving into the minivan market, the Chrysler Pacifica has been known to have a few reliability issues, especially with transmission problems and electrical issues. They also are known to have high maintenance costs. Owners report spending an average of $1,100 annually on maintenance and repairs. This is not a car we want to hold on to if we're going to annually fork over $1,000.
Yeah.
So that made the list for us.
Especially if this is like a family car, you don't want to be relying on a car that you can't really rely on.
Exactly.
To transport your kids. Oh, I can only imagine the nightmare. So rounding out our list is the Mazda CX-5. Like a lot of other cars on this list, it's just known for having high repair costs, especially compared to other SUVs in its class. Also, it's known for poor fuel efficiency compared to other cars in this class. So as you can kind of tell, an alternative might be your best bet.
And as you can tell with this list, we put together just one or two quick bullet points for each car. If there's a car, again, that you've had experience with, please let us know in the comments. Or in this list, if you had different experiences, please let us know in the comments. I know every one of our subscribers would love to know. We would love to know, especially for the next time we shop for a car.
Yeah.
As well as if you want us to go into more detail on one of these cars, any of those things, please, again, let us know in the comments. We'd love to. We didn't want to do too much was our issue to make this list and video way too long. So we just did kind of the top complaints, kind of the common problems we saw, and then we just rounded it out there. So again, let us know any of your feedback in the comments below. We'd love for you to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and as always, we'd love for you to stay tuned for our next video.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.